Hey guys, I'm Matt from Google. I work on Minikube. I'm pretty new to the Kubernetes community, so go easy on me, I guess. What is Minikube? Minikube is a tool that makes it easy to run Kubernetes locally. I'm sure you've heard a lot of tools here that claim to do this or try to do this, and a lot of people are doing it in their own different way. But what we're doing is we're running a local Kubernetes cluster inside of VM on your laptop. It's mainly for users looking to try out Kubernetes or develop their app on it kind of day to day. So I guess some of the goals of the project are single command setup and teardown UX. This means like Minikube start brings up your cluster, Minikube stop stops your cluster, and Minikube delete kind of deletes all the configuration and everything you have going on there. We want to support most portable Kubernetes core features. This doesn't necessarily mean all of them, but the ones that kind of make sense locally, like local storage, networking, auto scaling, load balancing, etc. A unified user experience across OSs. So Minikube runs on Windows, it runs on Linux, it runs on your Mac. Having kind of a good experience across all those is really important to us. Minimal dependencies on third-party software. I guess like everyone tries to do this, but minimal resource overhead. I mean, we're running on your laptop, so we don't have all the resources that your Kubernetes cluster has. Becoming the default local cluster setup for Kubernetes. I guess some of our non-goals, simplifying Kubernetes production deployment experience. This doesn't really have anything to do with that. There's already a lot of really good tools doing this. Aaron just mentioned like kubeadmin, self-hosted Kubernetes. We're not exactly trying to do that. They're doing a great job. We really want to own the kind of local development experience. And we're not really focused on supporting all the different deployment configurations of Kubernetes, like the different types of storage, networking, and all that sort of stuff. Some of it just maybe doesn't make so much sense when you're a local developer developing your app on Kubernetes. I guess what we do support right out of the box, this is not an all-inclusive list, but DNS, node ports, persistent volumes of type host path, ingress controllers, which I'll be demoing later, config maps and secrets, dashboards, both container runtimes, Docker and Rocket. I'll be using some folks at CoreOS made a Minikube ISO for us that runs Rocket. It's pretty abstracted to the user. You shouldn't even notice any difference. Container network interface. So in addition to actually like bringing up a local cluster, we've done a lot to help you like iterate very quickly on your app using Minikube. So things like that you can do locally, like mount host volumes. So like on OS X, we can mount your users directory using either the Xhive driver or VirtualBox. So you can reuse your Docker daemon. If you guys use Docker Machine, this is pretty similar functionality. We also use libmachine for provisioning your VMs. So you can share your Docker daemon and point your Docker client to the VM. We have instructions on setting up a private registry if you need to do that inside the VM. We support running custom add-ons on start. So right now we run the Kubernetes dashboard, but in the next release we'll probably also run an ingress controller automatically. And there are people in the community that have run Heapster and Prometheus and all these kind of different add-ons. It's super configurable. We know a lot of people have different development workflows, so we have a JSON config. You can config it with environmental variables and obviously flags and all that sort of stuff. And you can also run it anywhere. So I guess what we officially support right now is OS X, Windows, Linux. I mentioned before on OS X we support the Xhive driver, which is a port from the Beehive driver for FreeBSD. VirtualBox on all platforms, that's the default right now. We're looking to move away from that because people don't like VirtualBox. But Hyper-V on Windows and KVM on Linux. And for container runtimes, we have Docker and Rocket. Right now we use kind of a modified boot to Docker ISO for the VM, but I'll be demoing the CoreOS Rocket ISO today, which we hope to move to the default soon. So as a local development tool, we really wanted to use the kind of default way to install packages on your laptop. So installing Minikube on the different platforms is pretty standard. So we have a brew installer. It's actually a brew cask installer. I mean, you can build it from source on your laptop, obviously, but there's some memory requirements, so we just install a binary through brew. For Windows, we'll be shipping an MSI very soon and a chocolatey package to follow. And for Linux, some people in the community made us a Arch Linux Arch user repository package build, so you can download it through that. And we'll also be publishing a deb soon. So I guess just like a quick shout out to the community. I mean, this is obviously nothing compared to like Kubernetes itself, but as you can see that, I mean, the community drives most of this project. So most of the major drivers are community built. The Homebrew and Arch Linux installer are built by the community. The Minikube service command, which I'll be demoing later, our logo, in local kube, which is the binary that actually runs the Kubernetes components, which I'll talk about in a sec. So I guess what does Minikube look like on your laptop? So obviously you have your developer tools, your IDE, your browser, kube control. We don't package kube control with Minikube right now because, I mean, people have a lot of different ways of installing kube control. I mean, through your favorite package manager, like through gcloud, standalone curl script, whatever. Obviously, you'll need the Minikube CLI, a VM driver of some sorts. So like, this could mean like VirtualBox. This could mean, the Xhive driver on Mac. Could mean KVM. And then within the VM, there's a runtime, and there's also like the Kubernetes components that are being run. So how we run those is through this binary called localcube, which we've packaged within Minikube. And it runs etcd, it runs the Kubernetes components in Go routines. So this is a lot different from how most people are running it by running the separate components. But we run it in the same binary, and this has made things a lot easier to kind of piece together so far. But I mean, that's pretty much it about how Kubernetes is run inside the VM. So I'm going to go through two short demos. One, a Hello Minikube demo, which is just like a pretty trivial demo, just to kind of highlight some of the commands of Minikube and some of the features. And then I'll just be running an ingress controller in the VM just to show you that, I mean, it should just work. So, all right, so here I have, you guys can see my screen, right? So I have like the Minikube running, and so I've ran this command. It takes about like a minute or two to set up the VM, but other than that, right now we're passing in a few flags just to get Rocket working on Minikube because it's not the default, but in the future we hope to default this. And you can pass in your own ISO that you want running in the VM. The only real requirement is that it's running a container runtime that Kubernetes can access. So. And then you can see we're also passing in the Kubernetes version. One of the cool things about Minikube is that you can actually you can run multiple versions of Kubernetes pretty easily. And we publish all these, but you could also provide your own. And then on the right-hand side, I just have some kube control commands just to show the pods and all that sort of stuff. So first, I will. I'm just going to run this YAML. So this is just running an echo server container, and this is just going to echo back some parts of the request, just so we can see what's going on. So okay, we're running it. Now we have this Minikube dashboard command. This is just the Kubernetes dashboard. We package this automatically just because we feel like, I mean, locally, like a lot of people would probably like this to, like poke around logs and see what's running and all that sort of stuff. And then the second command I'm going to run is just exposing it as a service. So now we should be able to get it through Minikube service, hello Minikube. So we also have a command to just SSH into the VM, because I mean this will probably be pretty helpful for debugging and stuff. So as you can see, I just did rocket list here, and this is just showing the containers that are running. You know, I guess you could see it's running systemd here. Let's see what else we have. I mean, you could also get the logs through SSHing into the VM, but we figure people are going to be doing that all the time, so we have this Minikube logs command that just kind of cats them out. And so that's pretty much it for that. Delete. And then the second short demo I'll do is actually just creating an ingress controller in Minikube. I mean, I think that this would be pretty useful for people developing their app. It's just a different way of exposing your services, and just to show that Kubernetes features just work in Minikube, and it's a good development tool. First command, I'm just going to create this Nginx replication controller. So most of this demo is just taken from Kubernetes contrib. It's running an Nginx ingress controller that basically is just running a default backend that satisfies kind of the 2 points you need for ingress. And then the second set of services I'll create are these echo headers, which is pretty much the same as the first container I was running, and it'll just give us some information about the request, so we can verify that it was routed to the right place. So I'm creating echo headers X, echo headers default, and echo headers Y as services, and a replication controller for all three of those. And then the third step is I'm actually going to create the ingress rules. So I'm going to create ingress rules for 2 hosts and 3 endpoints. So the first one is going to be for host foo.bar.com. And the path foo should route to echo headers X. And then the second host is bar.baz.com, and it has 2 endpoints, one being /bar that should route to echo headers Y, and the other one /foo should route to echo headers X. So we'll create those. So I guess let's just let's see what we got here. Kube control, describe, ingress, echo map. You can see the ingress rules here. It's basically what we just created. And the last step will be actually just exposing the Nginx replication controller. So now we should be able to do, we're just going to curl the ingress controller through the Minikube service command. Nginx ingress. And this should just give us kind of the default endpoint. And now we're going to do /foo with host foo.bar.com. Oops. And so this should route us to echo headers X. And you can see the headers received is host echo headers X. Now if we switch it to bar.baz.com, this is satisfying the other ingress rule. So it also routes us to echo headers X, but /bar should route us to echo headers Y. So I mean that's pretty much it. Like a pretty trivial demo, but just to show you that all of this can run inside a VM, and it would be it's a good local development tool. It's not going to simulate a full cluster and all the things that you have there, but it should be good enough to run your app and run a simulated environment on your laptop. So we're the Minikube room on Kubernetes Slack. We're also, obviously on GitHub. And then the team is Dan Lawrence, Aaron Prindle, and myself at Google. And the rest is everyone else in the community. Thank you.